Hey everybody, I wanted to look at today the app Finch. Finch is a self-care pet daily journal habit tracker. So they've kind of packed in a lot of functionality in terms of habit trackers and a kind of mood check-ins and motivational prompts, but bundled it in a self-care pet. If you're not familiar with Finch, they are crushing it. So in the last year, they've done over 30 million in revenue. The last 30 days, almost 3 million. So they're on track to beat that this year. Of course, we see a huge spike in January. This data is from App Figures and looking at their estimated in-app purchases. If you go check out their different ads, they have tons of ads. So it's mostly driven by paid acquisition through Meta and TikTok. But over the years, I've kind of tracked Finch, and I have their onboarding flows for January 2024, July 2025, and January 2026. So it's going to be cool to go through and see over time how they've evolved and changed and what's new. And we're going to kind of dive into the mind of product managers and growth marketers to understand what decisions they've made and what tests they've made and how they're converting and growing such a big business. So let's dive in. So we're starting with January 2024. And so Finch starts with a super engaging little hook. So you choose if you want to hatch a new egg, you hatch a new egg and you pick what color you want it. Then your bird is, it'll change color based on that. I'm boring. I just pick gray. And so you see my bird's gray, but it would have changed color. We'll see that in a few past for the future years. So we have this fun little animation, this cracking, hatching animation. This is not a still image. This is kind of a fun animation. And then our burb hatches. Oh, how cute. I think our primary target audience is female here. And then we're personalizing our bird a little bit. And if we look at it, we're not sharing our information. We're not sharing our gender or our name. We're just selecting one for our new little pet bird. And so this builds investment, but it's even a lower barrier because it's not about you, but you're taking action, you're putting in effort, and so this builds investment and connection. So we pick our gender, we pick our name. You can select a custom name, or you can just press shuffle and they'll generate random cute names for you. This is a good thing to keep in mind. Like if you can reduce effort for people kind of moving forward, if they have to enter in custom responses, if it just isn't just tapping, you should have some pre-selected responses or easy ways for them to move forward. And shuffling through is also a fun interaction. Go, what's other names? So you don't have to actually think for yourself. You could just tap shuffle, shuffle, shuffle till you land on Peanut. And then we choose some traits for, I guess I selected Waddles. I didn't select Peanut. Oops. Okay, so for Waddles, what does Waddle care about? Clearly, this is a reflection of you, and so it's not you. It's just what your bird. So it's easier to kind of offer up information and then feel like you're making it own. You're personalizing your experience early on. You might, depending on how old you are, you may or may not remember the Tamagotchis. This is kind of a take on that, kind of an iteration of that. So we pick a trait for our bird, traditional personalization. The little the animation changes based on what I select. So curiosity has some little thinking, compassion, he has a heart, resilience, I think he has, I don't know, his muscles pop up or something. So it's a fun little, they make it fun to tap on the different options and see how your bird changes. So you think about how you can just put that little smile on people's face and kind of make experiences fun. Then this is another good way to build investment and emotional buy-in. But what it's also doing is actually showing interactions around kind of the app dynamics in the future. So it's in the future, when you use Finch, you get to choose different responses, you do things, you get to pick what they say. But now it's a simple one where you get to talk about and answer, what is a name for you? So it's kind of like you're expressing yourself, but through super simple options where you don't have to think about much. Then like in the app as well. When you kind of select these options, then you earn experience and the rainbow stones, which think about like coins or something. But he gained some compassion. Great, because I selected compassion early on, kind of connects this journey. Then now it asks, what's my name? And so after all the way after we've done all that, then it's actually collecting personal information on me. My name is saved. And then it gives a little background on what we can expect from the app. You can see these aren't interactive. We can see how they change that in the future. So we talk about, okay, it's daily check-ins. We gain energy, develop his personality, and grow. If you've ever kind of looked at how people interact with screens where they don't actually do anything, most people are just going to press next, 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 and aren't really going to read this. And so if you're trying to have information that people should read, figure out some way to slow them down, to interact with it, to make sure they actually take in what you're sharing. But this explains kind of what the habit mechanics Finch is built around. Notification opt-in, good practice to show a real example of the type of notification you're going to get. And if you look at it, it's not, we're going to send you reminders. It's getting support from Waddles. How cute. Okay, so we now, before we move to our paywall, we're going to select some goals. You'll see where these end up. I think I only selected one, but this allows us to kind of personalize even more what's important to us, pick some easy goals to do. There's pretty a low bar. Get out of bed, drink water, step outside of my home. Well, to be fair, I don't step outside of my home every day if I'm working from home, but yes, these are generally a pretty low bar. Then we see the paywall, and in January 2024, they have the standard Blinkist trial timeline paywall. You can see these are in similar color schemes. We've got $69.99 discounted for 43% off for $39.99 per year. You can skip this one-time offer and start a 7-day trial. Okay, so then if regardless of what we do on that paywall, we started or not, then they have custom screens for each day of the week. It matches what day of the kind of usage we're on. So welcome to Wednesday. And there's some small personalization here. So every time it's a little bit dynamic, interesting experience. It's not just the same thing every time. They used to show a mood check-in. I guess that when I said they used to, I'm giving some foreshadowing to what we'll see in the future, but they ask you kind of to rate your mood, and this is a little simple affirmation. And then before you get to anything, they prompt you to add a widget. Widgets can be pretty powerful and make sense for your app. There's I don't have a benchmark for what percentage of people are actually going to add a widget to your app, but it's not going to be the majority. But the people who do are going to be much, much stronger retained because you have direct access to them just on their homepage outside of the app. And so add to widget flow. Then finally, we land on the homepage. You can see the goal I selected before is pre-populated here. I complete this goal to populate energy, and then when the bar is full, I can then do things. You'll see that I only selected one goal, and so by completing this goal, I don't actually have enough energy, so I still have to do other things before I get to do stuff, and you'll see how they kind of address this in the future. Okay, so this is a view of, and they've got shops where you buy things. They have these like seasonal events, so every month there's some new event where you get rewards. You can see your personality. There's tons of the app has tons and tons of depth. Timers and soundscapes and breathing exercise and quizzes and reflections. So I think most people probably don't do those. I think most people probably they'll tap their goals and buy clothes for their Finch. I think those are the real game mechanics that people enjoy. You earn stones and you can buy clothes for your little bird. But that's not how they sell the app, but I think that's at the end really what probably hooks people. All right, so this is January 2024. So let's look at what has changed. Okay, so Still pretty much the same first few screens. I think they still have the same kind of hatching animation. Again, I was boring and just selected gray. Select our gender. Pick the name. That's all the same. Pick the trait. You can see how the different traits, your little Finch does different things. Then they've actually moved up when they prompt for my name. It kind of makes sense where like the name sections are connected, so it seems a little more seamless. All right, so then they ask about the similar question, I think, self-care. Oh, it's a different question. So what does self-care mean for you? It makes sense as a question aligned to the value of the app. I think I selected logic for my trait, so I earned logic points. Now if you remember, you're earning energy to kind of do things. They actually made this a little more indicative of what the actual UI is for the app. They show how this works. You press next, and they give you a prompt. Hey, you need more energy to go exploring today. And so that's actually what happens in the app. So it's a better example of how everything works. And remember, we were talking about some more interactivity before. If you actually want people to read things, that provides that. Then they also talk about getting reminders from your little Finch notification prompt. That's actually later in the flow, I guess. What about? Oh yes, so it's later in the flow here, but a similar point. Then they're testing to ask for email. It's skippable, but they're seeing if they can capture email and drive results with that. Then this is a big addition. Before they asked little to nothing about you, but now they're consciously adding this new section. Let's learn about you, how she can grow with you. Ask age. Age is great for understanding your user base and also customizing and tailoring your paid acquisition. I think it seems like they're probably getting more returning users now. So they ask, is this your first time? Yes. I'm starting fresh. And we ask about sleep. We ask about getting out of bed, how active you are. Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you have support group? These are all like almost any health and wellness app like can ask these questions. So not super specific to Finch, but yeah, good to add extra investment and buy-in. How much do they do with it? Who knows? So happy with your routine. Do you struggle with any of these mental health challenges? What areas of support would you like? Then they have a common flow where you ask. So this is kind of like, what are your goals, right? What areas would you like support with? And they ask one question and they follow up. I think I said be more active. So they said, okay, well, what's your biggest obstacle to staying active? I believe this is a multi-response. I believe if I had selected multiple, they would follow up multiple times. So if I selected be more active, what's your biggest obstacle to staying active? If you want boost focus and productivity, it said, what's your biggest obstacle to focus and productivity? And so it kind of drills in. It reinforces that this app is for you by asking and answering these questions. So it says, okay, I want to be more active. Great. They're asking more specific reasons why I'm not active, making it feel like they can solve my goals. And then we've got a loading screen. Do we have a loading screen before? I don't have it here. So a simple loading screen can be nice. This kind of just makes it seem like they're personalizing, taking into account all the data you shared. And now they output a starter plan. And we'll see what they do with these different goals. So instead of me just selecting one goal, they add a bunch of goals. If we look at back what the goals are before, it's pretty similar stuff. Here's all of them. So what do we got? We got get out of bed, brush teeth, wash my face, drink water, stretch, do one thing that makes me happy. A lot of those are pretty much the same things. They're all easy to accomplish, and that's what we want. So then they've kind of done some effort for us. They've done something for us. And so this might leverage the reciprocity effect. When someone does something for you, you are more likely to feel obligated to do something for them. And so now they show the paywall. So they have, I've talked about this before in my newsletter, but this multi-page, multi-screen paywall approach, essentially it is taking the same Blinkist trial timeline paywall, but breaking it up to reinforce everything. So one, often the biggest issue between someone starting is they just don't realize there's a free trial. And so reinforcing there's a free trial, 7 days free, on one page, simple text, free to use. Finch Plus, 7 days free. See my free offer. Great. I should know it's free by now. Then we break out the trial reminder into a separate screen. You can see these are still all the exact same things that are on that paywall. It's just breaking out these important messages so people actually read them. People just glance and skim. And so if we just have one line of big text, it increases the chance someone actually acknowledges. So we send a reminder 2 days before your free trial ends. This meaningfully helps improve your trial conversion rate ideally, and gets people to stop canceling their trial immediately so it actually converts. Then we can see CTA is still see my free offer. Now we emphasize the discount again. Again, it's all in the paywall, but we just really want people to see it. Biggest discount ever, just for you. Well, I think everybody gets it, but that's okay. And then we reiterate, reinforce this all. A good thing to think about. If there's anything important that you want users to know, say it multiple times because they're not going to read it the first time. So repeat yourself, and if it's an important message, that's not a bad thing. All right. But similar actual paywall, I think we have. If we compare it, I think everything's a little bigger. We can just compare it side by side here. So let's zoom in here. They made the text a little bigger. Start your 7-day free trial. One-time offer applied. Pretty much the same text there. Introductory one-time offer. They put the one-time offer above. 7-day free trial. Reinforce that. Free. Start my free trial. They made offer expires when you exit the screen another color to increase the chances you see it. Made this text a little less, so it's only 2 lines. That increases the chance you read it as well. Okay, cool. So it's improved the design a little bit so everything's a little more readable. Then, whether you convert or not, they ask you, how did you hear about us question. How did you hear about us is super important in this day and age of Apple privacy restrictions, broken attribution. And so this can be pretty meaningful supplemental data to understand where your users are coming from, and give you more accurate data than simply looking at scan or other kind of MMP attributions. Then you can see we have this similar personalized, or not personalized, but based on the day. It shows different screen, different color, still day 1 before. I think I was actually a Tuesday also, but it's different color there, and personalizes based on your bird's name. Then similar format, it gets you to commit. I think, do we have this before? No, that's new. So we are now asking about how many days will you in a row you take care of Tiger. And so this sets the stage for streaks. They have different copy based on how many days you select here, which is pretty cool. Then 1 streak, woohoo, congratulations, celebrate little wins. Then we have a mood check-in. This is pretty much the same with an affirmation and simple mood check-in. And these screens actually appear, I think, every time you open the app, if you don't have a streak. So it's, yeah. I think this style, I think it was Duolingo did it first, as usual. All right, it's cool. Then we got widget opt-in, similar flow. I don't think I screenshotted some of these screens, but it's similar flow, just different design. They still had multi-steps there. Then you can see now all of those goals are automatically populated. And so this kind of solves that cold start problem. In case I only selected one goal, I would have had to go do more things to gain energy in it. But now all the goals are there, automatically populated. I just tap check, check, check a bunch of times, or 3 times, 5, 5, 15, and then I have energy so Tiger can go discover new things today. And so I'll show you this, what that looks like. It's a pretty similar flow today, back then as it is now. But essentially, you're completing those goals. It populates energy, and then your bird evolves and grows and earns stones and so much gamification. And then when they have energy, they go on an adventure. And so they're actually gone in 8 hours real time. You have to open the app again in 8 hours. Until then, your bird's just adventuring, it's gone. So this is such an interesting kind of habit loop and reinforcement where they send you a push notification, but if you don't open it that day, you lose out on the rewards you're going to get. And so it's pretty motivating to drive that habit. In the first session, they're already getting you to open the app multiple times per day. This just has such a better chance of you actually building a habit of using this app and opening it. And so it's a pretty amazing gamification loop of real world time that I'm not sure if they test these 8 hours, but I think it's, different parts of your day. You do it before work, you come back, it's ready after work. I guess that's probably the thinking, or you do it at night, come back, wake up in the morning, your bird's back. It's pretty cool. And based on their growth, it seems pretty effective as well. Okay, so, and I kind of jumped ahead to that other flow, but that just gives you a preview of actually what happens when you fill up the energy. I think that I would bet that getting your bird to go on an adventure is probably a big aha moment for them. And so by adding more goals, being able to basically removing blockers for being able to send your finch on the first adventure probably increases their activation rate, increases their retention. They know if they can get someone to send a bird on the adventure and wait for them to come back, that probably is a meaningful milestone. Different is an activation moment, is an aha moment. I'm not sure exactly what their activation metrics are, but this seems like a pretty meaningful point to drive deeper engagement. And so that's a great way to unblock people actually engaging with the app. How do you, going back to that cold start problem, you don't want people to just land on an empty screen where it's blank and they have to figure out their own. Make it easy for people to understand the value quick. All right, so we went through January 2024, July 2025, and let's see what has changed. So if we look at July 2025, big additions from there, just remind, they start asking information about the person to. They almost double the length of the onboarding flow and questions, and then they break out into a multi-screen paywall view and then add additional goals and populate those so it's much faster to get started. Oh, and also streaks. Everyone's got to have streaks, right? Okay. Let's go to 2026, current day, January 2026. All right. So, new step in the new user process. We'll check back in a few more months to see if this stays, but now they're asking for a phone number. Super interesting. It's skippable. And again, you can customize your bird, same flow. I picked orange. Now you can see I've actually had some fun this time. I have an orange bird. Pick your gender, pick your name. That's all the same. Trait, your name. That's all the same. Similar questions, self-care related questions. What's self-care mean to you? You gain experience based on the trait you selected. Now, I think this notification reminder is a little sooner. It's a little sooner, similar, but yeah. All right, so So text, they're asking for and push notifications still. Then we move into questions. We see, okay, they now have age, and they didn't ask gender before. Age and gender combined, again, very helpful for user acquisition, targeting, understanding what people are converting. Why are these age ranges the way they are? Because this is what ad platforms use. And so you can pick these same age ranges in Facebook to kind of target these groups and these demographics. And then so one other piece, you see they've added, they don't have they remove the email prompt. So email is here, no more email. But they did ask for SMS, text in the beginning. So maybe the email experiment didn't work out. Good to know. Email is a lot to manage, and a lot of times email drives mediocre results for subscription apps. A lot of times it's just not worth the effort, and just doesn't drive a big enough lift to really manage and build out fully. At Finch's stage, to be honest, I would think I'm surprised about that like if you're doing 30 million revenue, usually you can get anywhere from 10-15% revenue lift. So that's pretty big, and it's pretty meaningful. And so I'm a bit surprised they don't have email. Maybe they have account creation. I don't know. It's surprising. So maybe this is a A/B test, SMS first, email. I don't know. Okay, so similar question is the first time. Then one last thing that I wanted to point out. They improved this status bar a little bit. Look, it's a little more interactive. This is just a green bar that fills up. This has different stages and steps in the onboarding process. It gives you more context, what types of questions we're asking. So about you, my energy and activity. These are all the same questions. How's life? More context is good. Rarely is giving people more context in a clean and simple way a negative thing for your app. Same questions. I think you just see you can scroll down. They have a bunch of options there. Then what areas would you like to support with? Goal-based questions. Then, as you can see, I think I selected 2 here. What tends to overwhelm you the most? What's your biggest obstacle to staying active? So I think I selected probably stress and anxiety, and then staying active. And I think those seem like the follow-ups for those. Yeah. Okay. So then same flow, loading screen, output goals, similar, I think slightly different. No, pretty much the same, but a nice touch. Again, the bird is always personalized the color throughout every single screen. Different animations, different flows based on what I selected first. Feels like it's for me. The name I selected again. A small thing, and I don't know if it's just different phones, different sizes. It looks like that name is on the bottom. Okay, and actually, let's look at this. 43% off versus 50% off. So we've got a small little price test, it seems like, or they did a price test, and so now $69.99, but they've lowered it and increased the discount amount. We'll check back to see if this is a test or this is a new baseline. Does increasing that discount amount improve the conversion rate enough that it makes up for this small drop in price? $34.99. I have seen that 50% generally as a rule is like the highest converting discount. 50% is a nice big and clean number. It seems like a lot. 50%, wow, that's so much versus 43%. Emotionally, 53% feels larger. So I could see that improves the conversion rate enough. Or it's a price test and it'll check back and it'll be different. So how did you hear about a screen? Same Same prompt. They have a fun little message here. Baby tiger wants you to be more considerate. A wing flap a day keeps the doctor away. And so they rotate through these. I'm sure they have tons of these. It's just little fun, nice touches. We got streak, 1 day streak. They've have slightly different interactions. So it's Tuesday, then I guess I need to complete 3 days or something. I'm not sure why that second Thursday is selected. Doesn't matter. All right, so then same element, commit to something. You can see the interaction changes based on how many days I select. Colors are slightly different. Every time you open the app, these types of screens are different, but they've removed the mood check-in. And so I don't see the mood check-in anymore. That's no longer there. I wonder if they said, hey, this is not really adding much value. If we can remove a screen, streaks is more important and the mood check-in is less interesting. Maybe it was more important earlier in their app experience and now it doesn't add much. Still, add a widget flow, and then we can see this full, oh yeah, one nice touch. Like the details matter in creating a great product. You see the little, here, what's tapping on these elements, a little wing. It's from your little bird. It's a little finch. Just little things matter. Think about the little things. How do you add more fun into your product? All right, so then we go through this flow, and again, we just looked at this, but this is an amazing habit building loop. You build engagement, build interaction. It's so easy to get started. You tap these things, you're excited. Wow, I earned a bunch of stones. I'm leveling up, I'm evolving. I can now go on an adventure, and then I automatically start an adventure. There's no other option. I can explore the app, but everyone's just tapping these and automatically puts me into this flow. And then I create this, it automatically kicks off this loop where I'm going to come back to the app in 8 hours because I need to know what happens. An adventure? What's going to happen? Neil will have something to share with me after he comes back from the adventure. Well, I've got to come back for that. One other last small change. You can see that now I land, the first screen is in a forest. Previously, I landed in a little birdhouse, I think. And so I don't know if that's changes or rotates or what happens there, but that's one other thing I noticed. So they have, but in the last 6 months, they haven't changed a ton. Major thing is a price test. Always be testing prices. There's always opportunity for new pricing and packaging tests. And this can drive a large difference to your app and kind of your monetization. And they removed email prompts. They ask gender now, and they're testing out phone number. So Finch is a pretty cool app to study. I think the biggest takeaways I would think about are have some fun hook in the beginning of your flow. Usually the first screen is the biggest drop-off point in your onboarding flow. People download the app, open it, don't do anything, don't care, forget. Make it super easy and fun to get started. I bet you have more opportunity there. Then think about how you can interact, make fun interactions through the app. Show the value early on. These are real. This is a real interaction. What it feels like actually using the product, earning rewards, building up energy. Then ask some questions to kind of personalize the product, make it feel like it's for them, make it feel like it fits their use case. Then Finch probably is one of the best apps I know of creating this super strong early engagement and gamification. Finch has so much gamification built in that I didn't even talk about in terms of the shop, the quests, the friends. Most important thing is actually getting into the app, but they have so much other stuff built in. I've talked about in the past newsletter. I can probably link out, but they just do an amazing job of gamification here to kind of drive value. And it's a self-care app, but really it ends up being a buy clothes for your pet bird and earn points and dress them up app. So it's a pretty interesting product, and obviously, as we saw from the revenue numbers, they're doing pretty well. All right. Thanks, guys.